three different skill sets, and a lot of emphasis is put on the voice, your voice, and what you can do with it, how you
Yeah.
use your voice, how the performance needs to go, how to dissect the script and run through what the character and the background of it is and who your audience is. There's a lot of focus on that nowadays. Today we'll focus more on the technology side. So that's another skill set that you really must have in order to be successful as a voice talent. And the third skill set here is the business side of it. So you can't put all your eggs in one basket, so to say. You can't put all your efforts into your voice and how to improve your voice. And it goes the same for the technology. You can't just focus on the equipment. I have the best equipment and the best microphone, and not focus on your voice or the business aspects of it. So let's say you do you're equally trained in all of these three skill sets. That would leave you with 33% of your time going to your voice and your performance. That would leave you 33% focusing on the technology aspect of it. And it would also leave 33% focusing on your business dealings. So that only equates to, with whole numbers, it only adds up to 99%. So
Right.
where does that leave that other 1%? That other 1% is something that no one else has. And that's your uniqueness, your individuality, your talent. It's the 1% that makes you different from everyone else. So once you have these three components equally established, and you're learning about voice, and you're learning about the technology today, and you're learning about the business practices in voiceover industry, that leaves you that one thing that's unique to yourself that no one else has. Make sure that 1% that we have left over here is what sets you aside from everybody else. And let's talk about microphones. Now, there's different types of microphones. There's condenser mics, there's dynamic mics, there's USB mics, and I even added here ribbon mics, and that's in parentheses because I don't want you going out and buying a ribbon mic. They're very delicate, they're very sensitive, they're very expensive. We're going to focus on condenser microphones, and those are the studio microphones. You see those at professional recording studios. USB mics have a place if you're doing something like this, like webinars. I'm on a USB mic right now. If you're doing podcasts, if you're doing, they're great for traveling because, you just plug it into your computer and that's the connection, the USB connector. So they have their place, but I would recommend you have a condenser mic. And some of the ones I have here are the Audio-Technica, the AT2035, very budgeted at the, it's a good price for the beginner or somebody getting into voiceover. The Rode NT1, very popular also as a starter. The Bluebird is one of the ones you see behind me here. And the AKG C214. Those are great microphones. As you go up the list, they get a little bit more expensive in price. Remember that any expense you have in your voiceover business, you want to consider that expense as an investment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm paying $500 for a microphone. I expect to get those $500 back as I go on doing auditions and doing jobs. So don't think of the hardware that you're buying as an expense, as a burden. Oh, I can't afford the $500 mic. It's gonna come back to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's an investment, and you expect a return on that. The pop filter, the pop shields, these are very simple. There's only a couple kinds. I have one here that's metal, and I usually go with the metal because it'll last you longer. You need one just to minimize that sibilance, the sharp S's and the plosives, the sharp P sounds. Okay, yeah. Everybody's good on that. And then your audio interface that converts your analog audio into digital form on your computer. And there's several brands and models. The Focusrite Scarlett Solo is a very popular model that you've probably seen. It's red in color. the PreSonus Audio Box I1, and a new one on the market. It's fairly new. The Universal Audio Volt 1 USB-C. That one is very popular. All these, you have one input, one microphone input. They make audio interfaces with 2 or 3 or even 4 inputs, but you only need to connect one microphone. So get the one connector. All these are great. Headphones, there's a couple kind. The closed back, like the ones I'm wearing. These are the Sony's 7506. I love these because they cup your ear and they close in, and there's no bleed through to give you feedback or anything like that. So I like these. I have another pair of Sony's here, and these are the open back, which are just a little bit. They're great. They have great reproduction, but they're just a little bit smaller, and they don't cup your ear, so you could get a little bit of bleed. These are great for editing, though, if you want to edit with headphones. The problem with headphones all the time, and that's why I have monitors on this list, that you have to have monitors. You have to have the speakers, because you can get fatigued. Your ear gets fatigued, and you want to make sure you are comfortable when you're editing. Not only when you're recording with headphones, but when you're editing, use the monitors so you don't get fatigue of your ears, or even long-term. You can have long-term effects. You can start, damaging your ear if you're constantly using the headphones. For the monitors, the Behringer Truth 4.5 inches, PreSonus, also the 4.5, and I have the Yamaha 5, which is a little bit, they're more expensive, but they're very nice. Mm-hmm. And for a recording space, you don't need to go out and get, huge monitors. The 4.5 inches or even smaller are great. Yeah. You want to be able to hear your audio when you play back on several speakers. I actually have 3 or 4 sets of speakers just so I can hear what the audio quality sounds like on different sets of speakers and different sizes. People, when they listen to the commercials or the audio or the audiobooks or anything you're recorded, they're not listening on the same kind of speakers. They might be listening in the car. Yeah. They might be listening on a stereo at home. They might be listening on their phone with small headphones or earbuds. So you want to make sure that the quality is coming through on different sizes of headphones. And I have some earbuds here to show you too. You want to avoid using earbuds or the AirPods when you're recording or when you're editing. It's just the reproduction is not there as good as some of these headphones that I have here.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
The microphones. Is there a certain price point for you where, below that certain price point, you're not recommending those microphones?
Yeah. They're below $100. I would not go. And there's an Audio-Technica that's below $100, and it's very good. It's a USB, but you want to avoid that. Just because the components inside those microphones are not always the best. It's an investment, because once you get that job, that money will come back to you. Now you've covered your expenses on that mic. This is a small list of the software that I would recommend. And personally, I use Pro Tools. That's the industry standard. Most recording studios, professional recording studios, you're going to find that they use Pro Tools. Learn on Audacity, learn on GarageBand in the middle there. But there'll come a time, within a year or two of you starting out doing voiceovers, that you want to upgrade, that you want to move up, that you want to learn what all the other DAWs have to offer. And they can, you can do effects, they have plugins. There's different types of things you can do. They're multi-track. For example, the Twisted Wave is not multi-track. So you have to record and edit on one track. In Audacity, the same thing. You have to work off that one linear voice recording. My recommendation is learn, be proficient at the software you're using, and then move up. Pro Tools, if you're a pro, Adobe Audition, and maybe Twisted Wave, which is what I use. A remote connection for sessions. most auditions are nowadays calling for Source Connect. That's outside of the pay-to-play platforms, of course. If you're getting auditions and they want a gig, they'll ask you, what can you connect with? And most of them will say Source Connect. IPDTL is probably the second most popular, but that's going more of the way of broadcast use for radio stations, TV stations. Bodalgo Call, another audio transmitter connection, open, Session Link Pro, and ISDN is the old dinosaur that you might hear about, which connects studio to studio. And Source Connect and IPDTL let you bridge. If somebody's requesting an ISDN line, they'll let you bridge to an ISDN line using one of those two platforms, Source Connect or IPDTL. But the one I see coming through on most auditions is Source Connect, and Source Connect has several levels as well. Now, if they want to see you through the camera like we are doing now, of course, it's usually going to be Zoom. But there's also other platforms like Microsoft Teams, WebEx, GoToMeeting, Skype, and even international clients. Sometimes they'll just want to FaceTime or use WhatsApp to communicate on camera.
If you don't have Source Connect yet, you can still put it on your profile if you're willing to buy it when the job comes.
Sure.
Sometimes that's okay.
Sure. Okay, so moving on, recording environment and noise management here. If you're still recording in the closet, I think this would be a great time to upgrade to something very inexpensive like the Snaps, what you find at snapstudio.com or vocalbooth.com. Vocalbooth.com, on the second one you see there with the red and blue colors, they have this new product. It's the VO1, and it goes in a corner. It's diamond shaped. It has, you don't see it on the picture, but it has like a moving blanket behind you. So you walk in, you have a little desk area for your laptop or iPad, and then you shut that curtain behind you, and it's a quiet space. Snap Studio is very easy to assemble, but you could do that on your own as well. You could do a DIY project. LA Vocal Booth, now you're starting to get into a few $1,000s worth for an audio booth, soundproofing. The Whisper Room also, those can go up to $10,000, and there's studio bricks which go into the more over $10,000. So it's up to you. Whatever your budget can get, do it. Okay, and the closets work good if they're packed with clothes. I agree.
Exactly.
They absorb the sound. The sound absorbing material, like you see in my booth here, the background. Auralex.com has all the foam, or you can find another retailer online. And remember that the choice of equipment should align with your goals and your budget. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, before we get into the Q&A, Evan, I'm just going to leave everybody with this, with a thought from the English poet George Herbert. And I don't know what George Herbert sounded like, but he must have sounded something like this. Do not wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand and work with whatever tools you may have at your command, and better tools will be found as you go along.
Hear, hear.
I think that's probably what he sounded like.
Yes. Right on.
So yeah, it's just work with what you have and then improve upon that down the line.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a plan for everybody?
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, Luis, we're going to get some volunteers on to do a bit of show and tell. If people want to reach out to you and either consult or get more coaching or anything like that, what is the best way to reach out to you?
Let me put up, and you see, can you see the?
That's perfect. Yeah.
So that's my website, and if you want some of the merch, like you see on let me show you some of the merch, something like this. If you like nice t-shirts, I love VO t-shirts and other stuff, you can always go to that website.
Voices.